Well, I'm a little sorry about not continuing on the subject of the CI because I got lost into this idea of creating a representation for a particular logic in a dungeon, like for instance a key in a door or a hook shot and a platform that's higher than your current door, and finding a way to represent that as a graph that an AI would use to actually generate a design of a real temple, like in Zelda. I got really interested in that because I'm planning on maybe if I have time to work on a very tiny dungeon crawler type game. Because as you all know, once you reach 30, you want to create a dungeon crawler, whatever you call that type of game. So anyway, let's talk the design of the CI because let's go to my notes here. Since the pushing works and I have a post hook working, it's time to talk about the folder layout I'm going to be using, which may or may not be the best one or the recommended version of doing it, but I'm going to be doing it in my particular case because this is my first time working with this. So we have a, let me use the text here. If I can figure out how to use the text. All right, apparently that's how the text works. Okay, so I have a user called deploy, and inside the home folder of that, I'm going to be creating a folder called git. I actually already have that, and inside of that we have indolent app.git, which is also a folder. It's the bare git repository. Then I'm going to be creating the following folder called CI, which will contain a subfolder called indolent app. Which may or may not have an even summary folder called build, and this will be the workspace version of the bare git repository that will be hosted on the server. Then I'm going to be making a folder called apps, and within that I'm going to create, you guessed it, an indolent app folder, which contains the current versions and the releases, which are built based on the successful CI here. Let's just, for sake of argument, do this. And finally, data. So the reason this folder exists is because you need to have a bare git repository to push updates to. And you then run a script on once you've applied the update. It's called a git hook, and this script will now every time a update has been pushed, create a log file and to prevent concurrency issues, and then it will clone this big git repository into this particular folder. And when that has successfully built, which I suppose there's a way to find that out, maybe just by gripping if a build is successful or not, could be very simple string check. When that's successful, it will go into here and actually put it into the releases. Here. It will create a new release entry. And when it's done that, it will actually deactivate the current service. It will then create the symlink to the new release, or it will hot swap. I don't know what you call that, atomically swap the symlink from the current release into the newest build, and it will restart the service. And the reason we have a data folder is actually very specific, is because let's say someone uploads a file. Now, usually you would have a storage object service or some external service, but just for sake of argument, let's say there's some stateful data that we want to have as a file. We need that to be a separate folder, because once we change these symlinks, we want that data to persist, and we do not want to store any user data or anything like that within the actual Git repository or the code of execution. And in that data folder, you might also imagine that we would post configuration files, which is very important because These are all files that are not relevant for the actual execution of the code, but these are files that you can configure. So perhaps we would even have a config folder, or perhaps on Linux or particular setups, there's an even better way to set configurations for a particular environment. So this is so far discussed the actual concrete implementation of what I'm going to be doing to get this to work. The first step that I'm going to do, which I'll showcase in the next video, is probably the CI part that actually clones into a new folder. And once the cloning succeeds, we'll have to look into actually building something. Now, since I have no .NET installed, all of this requires extra steps. Alright, one thing I forgot to tell you guys, but my throat has been absolutely killing me today, is that after you have all of this set up, you now have a method where you are restarting your application when it's successfully built, but it doesn't explain yet how to actually serve it to the user. So this box, this whole process can be seen as a service that's exposed, like my Blazor service. But this is hosted internally. For the reason that it's then scoped to this apps folder. And what I'm going to do for Nginx is Nginx is now serving static files, but Nginx will actually turn into a reverse proxy. And what that means is a user will connect to my website here, my .com website. And that will talk to Nginx at port 80 or 443, I think. But Nginx will now serve the files. But instead, Nginx will take the request and it will actually forward it to my current Blazor application, which might actually be hosted at, let's say, 5,000 internally. And then it will take the output of that and serve it back to the user. So this intermediate area, Nginx, will just be exposed to the public, and my application will comfortably be running probably as its own sub-user at some point, but for now as a deploy user in its own little environment. So that if something happens to this particular application, it does not have the permissions of Nginx, but also because this is how to set up Nginx with Blazor. So it has some benefits to it. I don't know if it's possible. I didn't look this up yet, but I'm pretty sure Nginx can also keep track of the symlinks, so that if you create a new version of your app, it will keep the connection to the old version, but it will send new requests to your newer version. I don't know if that's true or not. It's something I really don't need, because all I'm interested in is having the current version here. But I think that's also what Nginx can be used for. But that's how the actual app itself will be exposed to the public.